so this economy needs to be transformed very quickly, transformed radically. So it needs a revolution. And a revolution, Perry Anderson tells us, is an episode of convulsive political transformation compressed in time and concentrated in target. It doesn't go on inordinately. It has a very limited time frame. And we must identify the targets so that we craft together a vision, which is what BDC has done. Crafted a vision. And the vision speaks to not where we are, it is an appreciation, an interrogation and critique of where we are. But it also speaks most evocatively to where we ought to be. We're going to have to change the laws. See, there's a lot of complaint out there bringing law reform on urgency. Yes, we have to do it. It has to be done. It has to be done unapologetically. We're not going to succeed if we are going to cling to the very same practices, same provisions of laws that have held us back. We're going to have to change them and change them quickly. And so where it becomes necessary to proceed on urgency, we're going to do it. We're going to.
Yes, we are in revolution, brothers and sisters. In this video, I brought you the powerful speech made by the president of Botswana, President Duma Boko. And here is a full speech. Welcome and watch from the beginning till the end.
Call it speaking de profundis, from the depths. I always prefer to speak from the depths of my heart when I talk to people whom I take seriously. And so my reflections always start with asking, where are we as a country? Where exactly are we? And when you wrestle with the question of where we are, there is no way in which you can escape the corollary question posed by that martial artist Bruce Lee. Wrote a very beautiful poem titled Who Am I? Bruce Lee. And you know him as that actor in those old martial arts movies. He was also holder of a degree in philosophy. Brilliant thinker that Bruce Lee was. And this poem appears in two pieces of literature that I saw way back. One is called The Letters of the Dragon. And if you look at Letters of the Dragon, the poem is at pages 115 to 117. And in the other book, it's The Tao of Bruce Lee. That one I read way back. I've forgotten the page. But in that poem, he asks the question, who am I? I'm tying it to the question, where are we as a country? You know, I shouldn't teach you, and I will not. I'll merely remind you. We have relied on a single commodity. We've been a monosectoral economy for a very long time. We still are in a great many respects. We are now called upon to diversify under pressure of calamity. This is the reality. This is where we are. We have neglected many areas of growth and development, agriculture, manufacturing, processing, value addition, even in the financial space, we've at best been lethargic, unresponsive. We have to change this. All of us. And I'm certain that in the main we have the skills, the zeal, and the passion to do it. You folks are well trained. You went to some of the best schools on the face of the earth. It was a huge investment. The country invested in you. That unnumbered throng of people out at the margins of this economy, in the underbelly of this society, those down in the dump catching hell, those are the people who made the sacrifice for you to go to school, to the schools that you went to. You owe them more than a debt of gratitude. You owe them a debt sounding in money, in resources to transform their lives. We all do. And so when we examine at the end of our journey, when we are nearing tomb, we need to have answered the question, what kind of human beings were we to the people that gave so much of themselves to make us who and what we are? What have we done for those poor people? What is it that drives you, that wakes you up in the morning or in the middle of the night? What do you think about? What happens in the deepest recesses of your soul? What do you think about? Is it about yourself? About self-advancement, self-enrichment, self-aggrandizement? Receive praises and commendations? You are the best professional, the best financial expert. What does it mean to that person on the downside? This is the real question we deal with. We must always remember those creatures of flesh and blood out there and do what we do with them at the forefront of every decision, every action. And so this economy needs to be transformed. Transformed very quickly. Transformed radically. So it needs a revolution. And a revolution, Perry Anderson tells us, is an episode of convulsive political transformation compressed in time and concentrated in target. It doesn't go on inordinately. It has a very limited time frame. And we must identify the targets so that we craft together a vision, which is what BDC has done. Crafted a vision. And the vision speaks to not where we are. It is an appreciation, an interrogation and critique of where we are. But it also speaks most evocatively to where we ought to be. The gap, the chasm between the is and the ought. We need to construct a bridge. We need to construct a passage from the is to the ought, where we are, who we are, to where we ought to be and who we ought to be as a people, as a country, as a society. And this bridge is a function of strategy to move us from where we are to where we ought to be. There was some prescience, it appears to me, back in 1970 with the establishment of BDC. There was some sagacity, some far-sightedness by individuals back then who felt that they had to bring into existence an entity, a vehicle, an institution that would aid the process of taking the country where it was then to where they believed it ought to be. BDC was created, fashioned as a vehicle to achieve some ideal, some vision. And Frederick Douglass tells us a vision is not self-executing. It needs agency, human agents, institutional agents. So BDC is one of the institutions that were created to drive the country from where it was, where it pretty much still is, by the way, to where it ought to be. We need to be very honest about these realities. We need to confront them not with some ebullient self-flattery. No, we need to be brutally honest about our flaws, our defects, our failings, and the manner in which we've dealt with the realities that confront us. The better for us then to move to where we ought to be. And so BDC stepped back, reflected on itself in order to step up and play the role that it ought reasonably to play, and that we applaud. We thank those who came and those who now are at the helm. The expectations on you are exacting. They are very serious, consistent with the challenges that the country is facing. So when we breathe down your necks, please understand, the masses out there are breathing down mine, and I dare not disappoint them. We dare not disappoint them. We would have failed as professionals, as people who've been trained, if we disappoint those who sacrifice so much for us. So we have crafted, or we're in the process of developing, the Botswana Economic Transformation Program, which demands of us breakneck speed and agility. We're not going to do things today or tomorrow. We're going to do them yesterday. When I was sitting with Sheikh Al-Mansour, and I indicated to those that I was talking to at the time that I like things to be done yesterday, he said, I'm worse than you. I want them to be done last month. So you can see how urgent the situation is for both us and our friends, our investors. And they were exceptionally impressed with the country and what they saw. They tell me that their architect did not sleep last night designing structures and even homes for them here. That's how impressed they were. And so they are in with you, with us, for the long haul. We are confident that BDC, as the vehicle that will execute under this arrangement, is up to the task. The Minister, the Permanent Secretary, yourselves, everybody else, I have full faith and confidence in all of you. So you will deliver. And so the way you approach your work will define who we are. And Bruce Lee says, when he deals with the question, who am I? Asks, am I master of all I survey, or an ineffectual pygmy? The doubters said, men can't fly. The doers said, maybe, but we'll try. And off they went into the morning glow, while the doubters sat watching from down below. Bruce Lee, that's not me. And so we need to define who we are so that we get ourselves from these cloying circumstances of where the country is and where we all are, so that we can now move with confidence to where we ought to be. I've said, I say it again, finance is a bad master. Finance, left to its own devices, finance for its own sake is actually dangerous. It can be predatory, it can be exploitative. But finance deployed for the agenda of development can become a very good servant, a servant of development. So we need to mobilize and deploy finance for the agenda of development in our country. And in order to do this, we need to change the way things have been done. We need to move away from worshipping, fetishizing things as they are, and seeking to maintain them as we find them. We need to change the institutions themselves, adapt them so that they enable us to move and move speedily to where we ought to be. It's a revolution, I said. It is compressed in time. The time I have set for myself, and I hope for yourselves too, is 3 years. This country must look spectacularly different within the next 3 years. And it must be concentrated in target. We need to identify what it is we want to achieve in these 3 years. And if you look at it and you think you can achieve it with your eyes closed, then don't even waste your time on it. Try that which others would describe as impossible. Impossible when viewed through the prism of the current institutional repertory, where things aren't working, where there's an institutional malfunction, a dysfunctionality across the board. Government is dysfunctional. Let's be very clear and upfront about it. Government is a very large machinery, often unwieldy, unresponsive, lacking in agility. You need to inject some vitality, breathe some life into this unwieldy apparatus called government. We need to change it. Those who are within can actually get co-opted and sucked in and fail to see. Those who are outside sometimes are the better placed. From a position of strategic positionality, you can see angles that we probably may not be able to see from within. But happily for me, I'm both an insider and an angry outsider, so I can see from many different angles. But that may not be enough. I need your vision too. need you to infuse your ideas, your thoughts into how things must go. We're going to have to change the laws. See, there's a lot of complaint out there bringing law reform on urgency. Yes, we have to do it. It has to be done. It has to be done unapologetically. We're not going to succeed if we are going to cling to the very same practices, same provisions of laws that have held us back. We're going to have to change them, and change them quickly. And so where it becomes necessary to proceed on urgency, we're going to do it. We're going to have to change the laws. And lawmaking is one of the easiest things, really. Because what you simply do, you sit and you imagine, what is it that you want to see? You don't need a law degree to do that. You don't need to understand any provision of any law. You just need to know what you think is best in the circumstances. What would work for this country? How would we need to do things for us to move at the speed that we desire? All of us. And it is best when it is expressed by those who have absolutely no connection with the law. Craft the vision. Understand the end game. Because lawmaking is at the heart of it about four things I want you to know so that you can make laws yourselves. The first thing you do is you look at the circumstances now. What obtains now as we speak in relation to anything, whatever you are concerned about? What obtains now? Then you say, which is the second, what is the problem with the present circumstances? When you do that, lawyers say you're trying to identify the mischief. What is the mischief that is crying out for remediation, for correction, for amendment of the law, for a change in the law, for an enactment of a different law? What is the problem? That's the second stage. The third is then to bring the solution forward. What is the answer to this problem that you've identified? One, what is the situation? Before you do anything, what obtains? Two, what is the problem with this state of affairs? Three, what is the answer to the problems that I have identified? And the fourth is, now, when you implement and you monitor and you examine whether these answers are properly tailored for resolving the problems that you were dealing with. 4 stages. Simple, straightforward. No lawyer can trick you when you know these basic rudimentary principles. And they were laid down as far back as 1871, I think it was, in an old case called Hayden, the rule in Hayden's case. That's what it is. 4 basic questions. You must know them always. When a lawyer comes to you, or anybody comes to you and says, let's change the law, must pause, break it down into this 4-node grid. What obtains? What is the problem with this? What is the answer that I propose? Does this answer work to resolve the problem? And so a lot of debate, and you will see across society, time is wasted on frivolity and trivia. People can describe problems, sometimes even inaccurately. There's gender-based violence. Okay, there is. We all agree. We approach it with a sense of dread and anxiety, gender-based violence. Somebody comes with something that this is a solution. What is the solution, ma'am? You must deploy peace officers at the magistrate court. Oh, wow. What is the problem again?
Yes, that is President Duma Boko, the president of Botswana, talking about revolution. This is Traore effect. Families, friends, brothers and sisters. I'm speaking from here in my garden. And these are ponds, a fishing pond where we keep fishes. Also, we have the small garden there, as you can see. But I'm speaking from here, from what President Boko has said, because it is possible that if you have intention to do something or to transform things, it is possible. You remember when I started this project, almost it is about 4 years ago, I shared the video. If you're familiar with this platform, you can understand what I'm talking about. I started, it was like a jungle. It was like a bush when I started doing things here in this area. So today you see it looks nice, looks beautiful. We have these ponds here, we're keeping fishes, we have banana trees. You remember, maybe I'm going far, you remember almost in January 1st, New Year this year, 2025, I planted this tree. The one who sees this, the seed will not enjoy the shade. I said we have to create the better future for the coming generation. So today I'm here in this tree that I planted, and I'm enjoying the shade of this tree. So from what President Boko is saying, that he needs to revolutionize Botswana within 3 years. He wants to see changes within 3 years. It is possible. It is possible if citizens and the people of Botswana are already for changes. And it is not very easy. And that's why President Boko is insisting on the changes of laws. We have laws in African nations. These laws sometimes become obstacles to our people. These laws sometimes become obstacle to Africans, to stop Africans from doing what is good and right for their better future. And if you are familiar in this platform, if you are not a new, few days I shared the video of President Jacob Zuma, a former president of South Africa, when he was addressing in University of Ghana. He spoke in one thing that is very, very important, that when African nation, many of African nations, given independence, those colonizers put laws to continue owning resources. Yes, we are free. We are saying we are free. We're given anthem, national anthem. We have given this is what we call flags, but resources are still in the hands of colonizers. And that's why till today you see African countries, despite having this independence, they're still struggling. And it is soon when Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso started to wake up again that what you have given us is not about freedom. So right now we want a total freedom. And if you talk about revolution, you are talking about economic. You know, sometimes when people maybe heard about revolution, they think about maybe fighting or military coup. No, we are talking about economic emancipation, economic freedom. And that's why right now you see the Traore effect almost in every nation. Leaders who have revolutionary minds are looking for economic transformation, economic revolution, economic independence. And that's why President Duma Boko is insisting that there's a need for the people of Botswana to transform the economy. And Boko has given himself a timeline of 3 years. Maybe after 3 years, he wants to see something on the ground happening. And it is possible. It is possible because if myself, I'm not just prouding myself, I'm just for demonstration. If myself, I spent 4 years to build this area, to create these things, what you see here. Why not Botswana with resources of diamond, with money, with resources? Why not Botswana? If Captain Ibrahim Traoré within a short time has succeeded to build roads, construct hospitals, school, universities, stadiums within a short time. Why not Botswana? Why not other African nations? That's why we are insisting when they're calling Africans, we need to revolutionize our mind. We need to emancipate our minds. So it is possible, and I'm congratulating the president of Botswana for his initiative, for his steps. He's working in the footsteps of Traore. It is good, it is nice, but we need to go beyond of that. We need all African nations to take the same steps to revolutionize their nations. So families, friends, if you have something to share with us, please do so through the comment section. Make sure that you share your thoughts through the comment section from what you heard from the president of Botswana, President Duma Boko. So as you can see, I'm just enjoying what you have done, and it is possible. If you want to enjoy, no one will make you happy. You have to create your happiness. You have to create things that will make you happy, and no one will come from Europe, from America, from Asia, or from somewhere and make Africans happy. And that's why I was challenging the notion and the concept of thinking that Africans, we need investors. Who is investing here? It's myself. It's that when we talk about investors, you know, the problem that we have, especially even to our leaders, they think that we need great things. We need huge industries. We can start slowly. We can have a small industry for manufacturing tires, just tires only. And also we can have a small industries to produce irons, bars, something like that. If we can start slowly, then we can find another industry or another component that is going to bind tire and other things. That's what we want. Through that, we can create jobs, we can create employment opportunities, and that's why we are saying there are possibilities for this continent to prosper. There's a possibility for this continent to grow. But this continent can grow if our minds are being emancipated, if our minds are being changed. And we need to change our minds. We need to have revolutionary minds. So it's not about leaders only. It's not about presidents. It needs we the citizens to revolutionize our minds. If citizens can start thinking properly, even leaders can think properly. So in those countries where you find that there's challenges, it's because citizens are not thinking properly. So they are thinking in a different way. That's why even leaders are following what the citizens are doing. Now you can see the difference between revolutionary countries and democratic countries. In revolutionary countries, everything is you have to do something. It doesn't need to comply with the laws. But in democratic countries, you have to comply with the law. So even someone is going to die, you have first of all, you cannot save him. You have first of all to comply with the law. Then, if the law says okay, you have to attend. So even if it can take maybe 10 days, you have to wait. But in progressive revolutionary countries, when we say we have to do something, immediately it is going to take effect. And that's what you see happening between Burkina Faso and the other nations. In Burkina Faso, everything is going according to the commands, what leaders want and the citizens want. So we command, do this, and we do. In revolutionaries, I mean in democratic, it is totally different. So I think President Boko, as he said, he needs to change the laws. Yes, you need to change the laws because these laws that we have are sometimes becoming obstacle of development of Africans. So families, friends, fellow Africans, let us not speak for too long. Thank you for being part of this movement. Thank you for being part of this revolution. I'm here to share my thoughts and some comments on what the president of Botswana, President Duma Boko, said. So I'm enjoying to be here. It is the sun is shining, as you can see. So I'm enjoying to be here in my homeland, my continent, to see what I can add and what I can do. After that, I have no more to share. Thank you. Have a nice time. See you next time. Cut. Laws, we need to change things on the ground. So families, friends, fellow Africans, there's a need for we Africans to start examining ourselves, what we need to achieve, what we want to achieve within a short time. So President Boko has given himself a time of 3 years to transform Botswana. So within 3 years, he hoped that Botswana will be transformed. Not only Botswana, we want all Africans to transform our lives. Within a short time, we need to make changes. We need to make sure that the people of Africa are getting what they want to get, especially in terms of life. So that's why you see, even myself, I'm here in these ponds trying to do what is my best to change things on the ground. It doesn't make sense that at my age of 30-something years old, I cannot feed myself. I cannot feed my community. I cannot feed my family. And yet I'm waiting speeches from leaders to tell me, go and do this, go and do that. I think it is a shameful thing. That's why I'm saying we Africans, especially young people, we have a duty and responsibility to transform our lives. And it is important. We need to transform our lives to make sure that we bring changes. Yes, I'm sorry. But all in all, families, the important issue here is how we can transform and change our lives. That is what is very important for us. Wherever we are, whether we are in the continent, whether we are in the diaspora, everyone, black people, wherever you are, we have a great duty to transform our lives, to transform our communities, because we cannot continue to lament that maybe we lack this, we lack that, without taking decisive actions. And it's not the responsibility of leaders. Leaders are showing the way, but we citizens, we followers, we have responsibility to add value to what our leaders are talking about. And I'm very happy to see that leader like Traore, leaders like Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwa, Madam, leader like Duma Boko are showing us the way. And those leaders cannot succeed if we Africans people are not doing well. So it depends our actions. If our actions are good, these leaders will succeed. And if actions are not okay, they will not succeed. Why? Because their speeches, their talking depends on our actions. So it is the time for we Africans to implement what our leaders are showing to us. So families, friends, fellow Africans, it's my hope that we need to do things on the ground, to participate in national building, to build our nations, our continent, and to stop lamenting. Yes, we have to lament, but we have to do something different. Let us, all of us, participate in national building, in continent building. We have this continental free trade area. What are we going to benefit, and how are we going to do in order to benefit from the Africa continental free trade areas? We have Africa Agenda 2063. What are we going to do to succeed in Agenda 2063? So families, friends, fellow Africans, it's my hope that if we can work together, we can work properly, we can transform this continent. So I'm just adding what the president of Botswana, President Duma Boko, has said to the people of Botswana. So it's up to you, the people of Botswana, to take action. So you may ask why President Boko is talking about changing the law. You know, what is happening in Burkina Faso is totally different, because Burkina Faso is not a democratic country, is a revolutionary or progressive revolutionary country. So what the president is saying is going to be to take effect immediately. It is totally different to democratic countries. In democratic countries, you find that when a leader is speaking, maybe giving some directives, politicians are going to find how the law is saying. Is this complying with the law? So people are working according to the law in democratic government. But in progressive countries, if we say we are going to build the road, automatically people are going to build the road. That's the difference between progressive revolutionary country and these democratic countries. So in Botswana, that's why you see President Boko insisting there's a need for Botswana to change the laws. Of course, colonial laws put in place to hide and to make sure that Africans are not going to develop. They know very well that Africans will not develop as long as they have these laws. Recently, you heard from President Zuma. Zuma spoken one thing that is very, very important, that they give us freedom, but they put in place laws that are taking control of their resources. And that's why till today you find that we have laws, but we are still suffering. We are still struggling with these resources. We have resources, yes, in the continent, but who owns those resources? We Africans, we have right to mine oil, we have a right to process uranium. No, that's why you find that we have no right to process uranium, but we have a right to sell uranium into low forms to those countries that want our uranium. But for we Africans to process those uranium, it looks like it's not okay. So that's why President Duma Boko is focusing on transforming the laws, that he need to change laws. And these laws are there to make sure that Africans are not going to benefit from their natural resources or their resources. That's why President Duma Boko is focusing on transforming laws. So brothers and sisters, I'm enjoying the nice wind here. See, the wind is blowing. You remember this tree. If you are familiar on this platform, I planted this tree almost 8 months ago, and today you see I'm enjoying this tree. And I said, one who sows the seed will never enjoy the shade. I planted this tree purposely to show that we have to create the better future. This is a tree that I planted 8 months ago. So families, friends, I'm here enjoying the shade from this tree. So just imagine if all of us, we can plant at least 2 trees. I think this continent can be green, and we should not lament on the issue of climate changes. So everyone need to do something for the better of coming generation. Remember, I planted also those banana trees. If you are familiar, I planted those banana trees. So I have tried to do my best so that I can demonstrate that we Africans, we can do something. And right now, recently, I'm going to plant avocado trees in my farm. I will share what I'm going to do. But all in all, it is showing that Africans, if we have vision, we have focus, we can transform things on the ground. After that, let me say thank you. Have a nice time. See you next time.